Cheryl, welcome back.
Thank you.
I know that this franchise has been a little up and down over the last couple of years, and it hasn't been to the standard that you know you want it to be. But when you look at this group, what is it about this group that leads you to believe that you guys can get right back in the mix of where you believe you should be?
Well, I would actually kind of like to go back to what you said. I've actually been very pleased since 2018 up until last season. Last season was the one that was unacceptable to us. But I have to tell you, you lose the Hall of Famers that we lose, and we go to 2019 and we finish middle of the pack with a group that we sort of just pieced together in that offseason. 2020 we go to the bubble. We're in the semifinals of the playoffs. And 2021 we're third in the league. So 2022 obviously was the fall off year. So I'd say that it's not easy to do. I think in terms of following legends, everyone always asks what's a succession plan, and there isn't one for legends. Look around in sports in general; it's very hard to replace. We had every position that had a legend in it, and so if you now look at this season, I'm energized and enthused. I think by having someone like Nafisa Collier be the player that will be sort of building around, and then. The luck that we had in the draft lottery last year should not be understated because we got ourselves a really good player, and you guys will see that. I'm really pleased with Diamond Miller and the little bit of time that we've had with her, and I know she's just going to get better and better. So I think I'm energized by that. I think it's time for us to look at things differently. That's exciting in terms of not stopgapping where you can avoid it. And that's been our focus, and that's what training camp's been about. And I'm looking forward to May 19th and the final roster.
Sure, you kind of answered the question I was going to ask about Diamond. What have you seen from her so far? Early returns, obviously, because you haven't seen a whole lot. But what have you seen from her that has you encouraged about what the ceiling may be this season?
Well, I feel like I've watched Diamond for so long. I think what happens is when you watch someone for 4 years, you get conditioned, I think, to, in her case, the level of athleticism and persistence that she plays with. So your eye kind of gets conditioned to it, and maybe you take it for granted for a little bit, and then you get her in camp and you go, holy cow! This is beyond maybe what our eyes could actually see from a distance. And so to be in it with Diamond, in the trenches, her athleticism is maybe beyond any player I've ever coached. And so what does that mean? You have to be beyond athletic to be successful. Diamond's persistence, her competitive drive, those things we sort of knew that she would have. And then to spend now more than a week with us, she's not gotten lost yet, right? Every day is a learning experience for her, but she's not lost. And typically rookies have those times that you kind of go, okay, they look like a rookie. Diamond has not looked like a rookie in terms of the schemes, the things that we're asking her to do, because what gets her through every situation is how hard she plays. And that's just been really endearing to our group, obviously to our coaching staff.
Coach, there's some new rules in the league this year. You got to benefit from the Coaches Challenge in their first preseason game, your first one being successful, and also Washington having an unsuccessful one. I know it's a very small sample size, but just sort of how did that, feel to think about that during the course of the game, and if you, as a coaching staff, have discussed those rules and how it might affect strategy at all?
Oh, yeah. We've spent a lot of time. And so really for the preseason game, I know both teams wanted to use it to help the officials in their preseason preparation for those rules, and so we sort of collaborated on that. We knew that we were going to use them. We just happened to have a really good opportunity when things fell the way that it did. I don't want to get into the weeds of the analytics of everything of what we've gone through, but there's a lot to think about in the use of that. I think watching the NBA and the things that maybe they've learned in the couple of years that they've had it, and to see how it's changed, the use of it has changed. It's being used earlier in the game maybe than what you've seen before. So we've studied all of that. We have a data scientist who's been hard at work, and it is an interesting element to add So you need one more person on the bench that's going to do the hard work. I just want to turn and look and say yay or nay, and maybe sometimes I just do it anyway, and then I blame them, if it didn't work out.
And my colleague at the Next, Jackie Powell, has another question on a new provision that the league instituted this year within the CBA, which allows for teams to employ a replacement player for someone who's specifically either on maternity leave or is pregnant. She's curious if you both could explain how this new provision helps you this season and how it provides extra roster flexibility amid having to adhere to a hard salary cap.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only helps coaches in terms of having more players on the roster, but I have to tell you, the people that were impacted by not being able to have the ability to replace a player while they're away was the players themselves, because they're getting more taxed, and so they get more reps. They're the ones that end up suffering through that. So it's a no-brainer. And I'm glad, that our league is understanding, some things that maybe were impacts from the CBA negotiations that maybe they didn't think of on the team side. And so rectifying that, at least on some small level. It's not fully, perfect, but I thought it was a huge step, and sure wish we had it last year.
Coach, over here.
Hi.
Hey, you talk about Fee kind of taking the mantle, the kind of the leader of this team. And obviously, there are other veterans that you're going to look for to help her with that. But this is her team, both literally and kind of figuratively, the way you're building around her. How does that look for her? I mean, you've gone through a succession of great players and leaders, still did it her way. How do you think Fee will do it differently?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question, exactly what you said. That's the fun of it. The beauty of it is all the leaders that we've had, they all have different styles. Sometimes it's a collective effort, that when I look back through the years and the different personalities within that collective were just so valuable to the larger group. And I think in Fee's case, I think Fee has sort of a unique ability to sort of do both. She is somebody that she's awfully nice. If you're around Fee, that's her authentic self. She's never too high, never too low. That's really important in a leader. Very thoughtful, diligent. She's planning with me, our meetings, and she's the one that came to me and said, I want to meet once a week, and because she knows she has to grow, and she wants to make sure she's not missing anything. Maybe she wants to talk through maybe things that are happening and how to handle it. So I really appreciate the maturity that she's coming in and the responsibility that she's happy to shoulder for our team. And so Fee is also somebody that likes to be silly and kind of hang out type player. I think those leaders tend to find success because that you feel like you can talk with her. She's genuine, and so I'm looking forward to her journey as a captain of our team.
Just a quick follow. I mean, there's going to be a time when things aren't fun and loose. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a time when things are tough. I don't know, as a leader, if she's really faced that yet. Are you curious to see how she operates and navigates through something like that?
Sure. She has, and I think I shared this story in her rookie season. We had exactly that. We had early in the season, we had a challenging game, let's just say, maybe moments within the game. We got in the locker room afterwards, and somebody was sideways in a way that she found unacceptable, and it was she who spoke up. And so she recognizes when it needs to happen, and everyone has their own personalities. I mean, she's not the type that's going to pin somebody against a locker. It's not that, but she's going to use her voice. And she's more of a reasoner type of personality. And I've told her parents over and over that they've just done an incredible job with her because her ability to be consistent as a person is really valuable.
Cheryl, you mentioned turning the page from last year and you're feeling re-energized and, ready to go. But what is a fair expectation for this team in your opinion, and what does a successful season look like in your mind for this team?
Well, maybe for the first time in a long time, I don't recall how I felt in 2010 in terms of what the goals. I was probably unrealistic in 2010. But I think probably for the first time in my head coaching career, I have so much more perspective about a team and where it's at in its progression, and whether it's our team around the league, And so looking at it that way, we're less focused on sort of the outcomes that people focus on, the wins and losses. And we don't want to do that to this team. I think what we're super locked in on is how do we immerse ourselves as coaches into their preparation, their improvement, and that's what we're going to base it on. So one of our early wins in the season was as an example, our scrimmage with Washington, where we fell short in a lot of areas. And we came together and we came in and we taught and we said, okay, look, this is what we do in these situations. And to see their response the next day, that's what I want throughout the season. I don't want them to ever get too high or too low through the course of a 40-game season, which is different for us. It's a few more games. And so I think as a coaching staff, as president of basketball operations or Claire as a general manager, the way we're looking at it is so much more forward thinking and developing younger people that there's no way they can know what they need to know. They need us for that. So that's the mindset. And what's the realistic expectation that I want to put on them is to be the best version of this team self. We know that there's this large dynasty team that sort of, and it's wonderful in terms of how it looms over us like this. It's incredible the way that you feel when you come in here. You feel like you're supposed to be successful, and that's great. But we also have to be realistic about where a team is, and I think for them, what is our best? I don't care about last year. I don't care about the year before. I don't care about 2017 and 15 and 13 and 11. That has nothing to do with them other than the culture that they're standing on. And that's what I want them to take with them every day, that responsibility and how we go about our business and how we treat each other. Those are the things that I will find successful.
Hey, Cheryl. Days like today, what makes a media day significant? I asked Fee the same question, and she said they get to put the jersey on, and players trying to make the team maybe get to visualize playing at this level. What, if anything, makes today a milestone in the preseason?
I think that's well said by Fee. Gosh, we look at it a little bit different. I mean, if you want my honest answer, it gets in the way. I want to practice, but it's really important. It's really important that you get the personalities be here with you in a different light. For them, obviously, you guys see me all the time, but for you guys to get to know them, I think that's really important. Hopefully, you find a connection and you want to be here more and cover the young team. I think that's probably it when I think of the actual media part of it. The other part of it, there's some really impactful things that they're doing and the ways that they're connecting with our community and some of the reads that they're doing and the other things that they're participating in. As you saw, we have people coming in that support the Lynx. They get to be around them all day. So there's a lot of fun things happening, but I'd rather be practicing.
All right, thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.